Welcome into another special edition of New Track Record Podcast. Caleb Hatch with you. Joining us now on the guest line, 2019 Indianapolis 500 champion, the 2016 IndyCar Series champion. It is Simon Pagenaud, who's starting on the inside of row number 8, driver of the AutoNation SiriusXM Meyer Shank Racing Honda. Simon, first off, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
So, Simon, let's go back to qualifying. Honda, at least outside of Chip Ganassi Racing, struggled for speed, but do you feel like there's something different that you guys were able to discover yesterday in terms of the practice session and having speed for the race?
Well, obviously, the Honda car is on the pole position, so the engine's doing just fine. It's our job to be better on our side of things. So eventually, I think in the race package, we're in good shape. I felt really good in practice yesterday. I felt strong, felt like I could pass cars, and I have really a lot of confidence going into the race. So the harder it's going to be, the better, because we have a great chassis, and the handling is phenomenal on our car. So I look forward to it.
You look at this year, and for your team, it's been a bit of a struggle to start the season, but having additional track time, getting settled in, do you feel more confident going into this race compared to other race weekends this season?
Yeah, it's a great point you make. IndyCar is reducing track time, practice. Outside of race weekend, I'm talking about, we don't have many days of practice. We only had 3 days of practice for the entire year to get ready. It's very little time. We do a lot of simulators, similar days, and it's not the same. It's just not the same. You can't deny the fact that it's not a track day. So, unfortunately, if you're not fully ready to go in January, you're going to struggle for a little bit. But overall, it's great to have more time on track for the team. I feel like it's really helping our chemistry as well, which is always important in team sport.
Simon, when you look at this team, you're in year 2 at Meyer Shank Racing. Obviously, they had the success with Helio winning his 4th Indianapolis 500 back in 2021. Once your Penske teammate, now your teammate here at Meyer Shank. As far as the familiarity, working with a driver you're quite familiar with, you've been teammates with in the past. How much did that help in transitioning to this new team last year, and then hopefully moving forward up the grid this year?
I mean, it's huge for the team. Obviously, we have 500 Indy 500 win together. It's great for the partners. It's great for the team as well, because we know how this race run. We know how to win it. So it gives you a boost of confidence coming in here. We kind of have a good vision of how the car should handle and how to run the race. So that really helps the team grow and become the team they want to be in the future. It's a great relationship. I personally love working with Helio. He's always so upbeat. There's never a bad day with Helio around, which is an incredible quality.
A lot of people wonder, is the energy that he has, is it fake or is this really Helio? Is he always just that energetic?
That's Helio, man. It's that's how he is. I don't know what he takes in the morning, but I want to know. I've been around him a lot. He's also a great friend of mine, and he's taught me to always reflect on the day, but always look at the positive, and that's the way he is. It's just there can be bad days, but if you dig your hole, the deeper the hole, the harder it is to come out of it. So he just doesn't even dig the hole. He's always on top of it.
Simon Pagenaud joining us, and the other thing, between you and Helio, who has the better hair?
Well, I would say I do. His hair don't move, but mine do. I have a little bit more style in my hair than he does, but that's a personal taste.
You're an Indy 500 winner, and you're always going to be introduced that way. How much has that meant for you, for your career, just to have that added to the kind of your title whenever you're introduced anywhere, and to have that Indy 500 winner's ring?
I mean, it's everything. It was, to me, it's the accomplishment of all the hard work, all my dreams when I was a kid to be a race car driver. It's great to be a race car driver, but it's better to be a successful one. So, even for my kids, later on, when they realize a bit more what's going on around them, they'll be able to say that I won the fastest race on earth, So it's very special to me. It's a pride. It's an honor to be a winner of this race. Obviously, it's something you always want to do again once you've done it once, and it gets even more of an obsession. But I'm very proud. I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm certainly not done with it at all. I'm very proud of what has been done, but I want to continue and do more.
When you won that race in 2019, when was the moment when everything kind of set in for you after taking the checkered flag?
Well, pouring the milk on my face for me was the moment of realization. It's such a picture-perfect moment. You look at all the winners in the world of any races, it's usually champagne or whatever on the podium ceremony. But in Indy, you don't celebrate second, third. You only celebrate the winner, and the winner gets to drink milk. It's just a very special tradition. So when that happened to me, it was a silky smooth moment that I really enjoyed.
You've charged through the field multiple times here in the last couple of years, finishing in third with your previous team, Team Penske, in 2021. Moved up 8 spots last year to finish in the top 10 with Meyer, Shank in your first year there. As a driver, obviously you have to be patient. It's a long race. It's 500 miles. But when you don't qualify as well, and you've had to move up through the field, and you've done that several times, what's the key to being able to do that on race day?
Well, people talk about patience, and I would agree, but it's to a certain degree. You have to, when you start in the back, you don't have time to waste. You just got to go forward, seize any opportunity you can seize. You got to pounce like a lion. There's no question. You start that race. There's a race start. At that start, you can't take it easy. You're going to have to pass some cars and so on and so forth because, all these cars are really fast. And if you just wait and settle and then just wait for the race to unfold, you're just going to be in 20th position when it comes lap 120, and the race is done at that point. By lap 120, I need to be in the top 10. By lap 150, I need to be in top 3. And by like 170, I need to be in second place to have a chance to win the race. So that's how I look at it.
With the addition of the Aeroscreen back in 2020, has it made this race tougher from a driver standpoint as far as heat in the cockpit, tougher to pass? What has been the biggest change you've noticed with the addition of the Aeroscreen now a couple years in?
Well, I got to tell you, you hate it or you love it, the biggest thing is safety, right? I mean, the drivers, I feel a lot safer because, the flying debris is what's dangerous and fatal to a driver these days in an open-wheel car. So when something's flying at 240 miles an hour, you can't see, you can't react. There's no superhuman people out there that can avoid a flying object at this speed. So the introduction of the Aeroscreen helped prevent a fatal injury of that kind. And for me, it's, I welcome that. It's just, it's just sad to, have a fatal injury like that and not be able to, be around. So I just enjoy very much the safety aspect of it. I don't like what it's done to the handling of the car, but that's another problem. But it's certainly a huge advancement in safety for racing in general.
Yeah, you mentioned the handling aspect. It's kind of changed driving styles for some drivers. It's been a bit of an adjustment, and I think you spoke on that in the past, just how the car handles differently. Was there a point where you felt like you'd finally made that transition and finally gotten a good handle on how the car works now, especially on road courses where you're moving around a lot, with right and left-hand turns, but also even on ovals as far as it handling differently?
For me personally, the biggest trouble is on road course and street course with that Aeroscreen because it's added so much weight higher up in the air that, it doesn't behave like an open wheel car used to behave. It's not as nimble. It's a lot heavier up top. So, a little bit like an SUV on the road versus a sports car, right? That gives people an idea of what I'm talking about. And it's not as nimble as it used to be. So it's certainly a big adjustment. But on oval, it's not been the same because the movement of the car a lot more steady and continuous through the corner. But yeah, we as a driver we have to adapt. No question. I've adapted. Breakthrough, I wouldn't say so, but I've adapted, and it's going pretty well.
Always the question going into Indy 500 every year for I think fans is quite simply, will it be easier to pass? And with the Aeroscreen, it's made it tougher on ovals. Do you think this year, though, teams have a better handle on it, or is it just going to be heavily dependent upon conditions like it is most years?
It's Indianapolis. It's never easy. That's a word that I would never use around the speedway. First of all, it's a place you got to respect very much because of the speed. But IndyCar is giving us a lot more components, a lot of parts to add aerodynamics to the car. So the cars in traffic behave better. It's a little easier to follow closer. But, it's still difficult to pass, and that's just the way it is. The first and second place will pass each other every lap, which is going to be very exciting for the fans. People in the back of the pack struggle a bit more because the car ahead of you is drafting and is going as fast as you on the straightaway when you're behind it. So it's always going to be difficult to pass back there in the pack. However, I found that IndyCar is giving us the tools to make differences between the cars and create better racing. So it should be better no matter what the conditions are.
What's on your checklist to get done during Carb Day practice?
We basically want to check that the downforce level that we are going to choose for the start of the race is the right one. And when I say that, it's to understand it, downforce is what gives you grip, but more downforce is slower on the straightaway. So it's always you and your engineer to decide what's the best combination or the right recipe for a good race. And it depends on the conditions. So if it's hot, you lose downforce. If it's cold, the air density gets higher, you gain downforce. And you can adjust what you have on the race car depending on that. So we have to calculate and be sure that the weather forecast is the right one for us. And we have to be looking at that. So on Carb Day, I'm going to be trying different steps of aerodynamics and downforce levels and decide which one do I need, what level of downforce I need for the race. That's my last items I need to check.
Obviously, you've had a lot of success in IndyCar, winning a series title, winning the Indianapolis 500. You've been able to do the 24 Hours of Le Mans a handful of times back in your native France. What else is on your racing bucket list?
Well, I'm actually going back to Le Mans in 2 weeks here. I'm racing in Le Mans for a team called Cool Racing, and I'll be there for the first time in about 10 years. And it's the 100th anniversary of the race. So I'm really excited to be there, go back to my home country to race in a long time. So that's really cool. So winning that race is on my bucket list for sure. At some point in my career, that's something that I want to accomplish. I finished second there, so it's kind of a unchecked item I need to finish off. And then there's a lot of other things I love. I want to try to race rally racing back in Europe at some point, and why not racing Pikes Peak again, like I did with Honda back in 2013. Racing in general to me is just whether it's on the track, whether it's on the closed road, it's just the driving side of thing of a car. It's so much fun.
Simon Pagenaud, he'll be in this year's Indianapolis 500, going for his second win in the race. Joining us, Simon, thanks so much for the time this morning.
Thanks for having me, Caleb.
Thanks again to Simon Pagenaud for joining us on this special edition. Again, look for more special episodes each and every day this week leading up to the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. If you'd like more New Track Record podcasts, you can find us online at newtrackrecordpodcast.com. While you're there, sign up for the email list so you never miss an episode or any special announcements we make. It is free to sign up for. You can also check out the store. We have stickers for sale. We have t-shirts for sale. You can find us on social media. Just search for IndyCar Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook, search for New Track Record. You can email us, newtrackrecordpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support us, you can support us via Patreon, patreon.com/newtrackrecord. Thanks to Xavier, Rob Stitch, and others for their generosity. Again, Starts at just $1 a month to be a supporter. So that's how you can do that on there. And as always, listen in for free. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Overcast, Castbox, Player FM, what have you, on your favorite podcasting platform. That wraps up another special edition of New Track Record Podcast.
Podcasts by Federated Media.